A Hunter in Teyvat, Chapter 23, Fan Fiction, by Azazyel. Please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel for listening and patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of his stories. I couldn't help but madly giggle as we all safely entered our hotel room from the already unlocked window with no one the wiser to our theft, as even the hotel lady could act as our witness that we responsibly retired early so we could get ready for the next day of adventuring, or perhaps the lady would gossip that we simply wanted to get back our room to do the nasty. Either way, we're in the clear. So, Jake, what was all that you were saying back in the church about Signora? Lumen asked me as she collapsed onto our bed in exhaustion right beside me. Yeah, you didn't need to cover my mouth when that weird electro-wielding chick teleported by the liar. Paimon scolded. After filling in Venti on how a Fatui agent was on the cusp of stealing his lyre, even he was curious how I manipulated the electro-Sisson mage. Okay, so keep in mind every nation has its military right. Mondstadt has its Knights of Favoniuses with their vision wielders taking prominent roles. Well, it's the same for the most part everywhere in Teyvat. I took a breath as I ordered my thoughts, and then I continued. Snezhnaya has the Fatui, and not only that, but they also have the Fatui Harbingers. They act as the arms of the cryo-goddess, the Tsaritsa, in directing Fatui actions in other lands. I brushed my hands through my hair as I sighed and said wryly. The 11 Fatui Harbingers are all monstrous fighters, to put it lightly, as they all have Vysen and the highest quality delusions that will augment their Vysen's elements. So, what does that have with Signora? Lumen asked me, and I looked over to Venti as it kinda pertained to him. I do not know Signora's real name, but her tale is rather widespread in how she became a Harbinger and absolutely hates Mondstadt down to the bone. She was a lover to one of the Knights of Favonius centuries ago and was one of the most accomplished students in the magical arts in Sumeru. When the disaster of Kenria happened, she rushed back to Mondstadt and only just reached here as her fiancé died in horrible agony in her very arms as the cursed miasma of Durin, the evil dragon that Dvalin fought, infected him. I stared seriously at Venti as I warned him. Venti, you need to be aware that she is batshit insane. The death of her fiancé drove her to embrace her pyro vision so closely that she became the literal embodiment of flames, being able to substitute and regenerate her body simply from flames, and most importantly, giving her a form of immortality. She has been nursing her hatred of you for literally centuries, and with how she is active here in Mondstadt, I imagine she has some form of revenge planned for you. Venti's face went through a collection of emotions before he sighed and closed his eyes. Leaning into the chair, he seemingly was unsure how to respond. Either way, I got the lyre, and if we are lucky the Fatui will be looking for Inazuma agents that are totally trying to steal another high-value piece of clothing, like how an agent of Liu's Qixing stole a coat made out of a dragon that could turn invisible, I said, making quotations with my fingers as I mentioned Inazuma agents. Wahaha. Venti exploded into laughter, having to hold his stomach as he imagined the Fatui going on some wild goose chase after some Inazuma agents, and it was certainly a possibility as the nation of Inazuma literally did have ninja clans which specialized in these very things. The funny thing is how little old EI is actually petty and competitive enough to want to get one over that old rock Rex Lapis, even if it's as something as stupid as stealing another Archon's clothes. Here's the lyre, Venti, I said, taking the holy lyre from where I hid it in my jacket as I didn't want to chase finding out what would happen if I stuck a literal divine instrument in my shitty space bag that I needed to upgrade. Like, seriously, it only had like a 2-meter circumference within, so I was only storing Mora and the weapon upgrade crystals we have been getting out of the chests we have been raiding. I, as a degenerate cultivation reader, wanted a space ring with internal storage space the size of a football arena. But then again, when we get the Serenidia teapot, that will solve our problems, as we will have a literal private island for us to live and store stuff within. I will do my best in order for me to either get my own teapot or have it, so I was the one in charge of it, even if I needed to do the annoying tasks of decorating it, and then somehow stuffing a fucking house in the teapot for us to live within. So, what now? Do we just walk up to Dvalin and give him a lullaby and try to purify him? I asked as Lumen rolled over and placed her head in my lap. I looked down at her, and she smiled lightly as I began gently brushing my fingers through her hair, making her hum in comfort and close her eyes. Ahem. Venti coughed, seeing our rather intimate actions, but then he noticed that Paimon herself had already gone back to her pillow bed, and he realized how early it was and how our sleeping schedules were messed up from our theft. Well, we will need to replenish the Anemo energy in the lyre, as it hasn't been used literally since the Archon War. We can use Dvalin's tears, which are crystallized Anemo. I quickly handed over the energy crystal we previously purified, and then the previously dull, dark gray strings were aglow with light green energy as Venti dropped the crystal into the lyre. Well, we are going to need more of Dvalin's tears if we want to call him to us, let alone soothe him into a slumber. Venti said, sighing as he was considering our options. I yawned as I felt my own exhaustion kicking in, and then I said the most obvious option. Venti, let's just go talk to Jean and the rest of the Knights of Favonius in the morning so we can get the manpower to hunt down the tiers needed. Alright, sounds great, Jake. He cried out but then giggled wryly as me and Lumen glared at him for being loud. Well, in that case, I will see myself out and will meet you both at the Knights headquarters whenever you are both ready. Hee hee. Then Venti climbed out of our window leaving me and Lumen snuggling together as we readjusted ourselves, so we were both comfy and soon fell into a deep sleep unaware of the chaos that was reigning in Mondstadt as the patrolling knights found out the Holy Lyre was taken and then a number of Fatui agents went to formally lodge a complaint about a couple of their agents being brutally mugged outside their hotel.